This is Bruce Boudreau, and it's time for Clay's Canucks commentary live. Let's go with Clay right now.
Hey Canucks fans, and welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary live, presented to you by Van City Experts Real Estate. I am Clay Emo, Canuck Clay, and this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It is Tuesday, September the 19th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. We have a lot to get to today. Two stories emanating from the Vancouver Canucks franchise. One big one, and one that would normally be considered a big one until it got superseded by another big one. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, I'll get to it in a second. But first off, moderators, do what you need to do. It may be a big one tonight. It might not be. We will see. Members, that's legends, Hall of Fame, and franchise members, thanks for your support as always. And for everyone else, no matter where you're watching from, whether in my beautiful neighborhood of Steveston and Richmond, in the city, Lower Mainland, province, country, or continent, or around the world, thank you for being here. You know that I know that you could be watching anyone else, doing anything else, getting ready for work, school, or better, all three. But the fact that you are here with me, I always appreciate you, and I never, ever take you for granted. So here's how you can get involved. You can subscribe so you can get my videos every single day. I dropped 2 today because of the 2 news items. You can like this video right on cue. There are 33 people in the chat right now, 33 people. And then that means I want at least 15 or 16. Oh, wow, we have 15 likes already. So we actually almost are at that 50% ratio already. So welcome everyone. Make sure you like the video, like the fact that we are here talking about Canucks news, and like the fact that training camp is only 2 days away. You can leave a donation. Get the donation train out of the station. We always love it when that donation train is running. You can gift a membership. It's the same as a $5 donation, and it gifts someone franchise membership for the entire month. And of course, you can, as always, get your own membership, or you can definitely upgrade your membership if you already are a member. So all those things you can do: subscribe, like the video, leave a donation, gift a membership, become a member, upgrade your membership. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure you rate and review. That always helps me out. So a lot of excitement I can tell in the chat. Some people leaving some nice messages for me already. I miss you guys too. Nice to see some familiar names who haven't been around for a while. But today, Tuesday night, before I get to the 2 big Canucks stories, I'll say 2 things. Tuesday night, usually I bowl. And then I come back and I'm all excited to do my show. And then I have to rush off to go to my church hour at midnight. Well, I still have my church hour, but I can't bowl, obviously, as I recover from my ruptured Achilles tendon. I actually went to the bowling alley, and a bit of a FOMO moment for sure. That's fear of missing out, of course. No, I'm not swearing there. But I was able to see, obviously, Sean and Jake were bowling, along with many of my former teammates, many of my bowling colleagues. And I didn't go to get attention. I didn't go so I can say, hey, everyone, look at me and my cool scooter and my cast. But it was a chance to reconnect with some people that I haven't seen in 4 months, basically since our bowling season ended in April, kind of like the Canucks season. So it was a wonderful chance to catch up with people, and was able to say hi, to explain my story, to thank them for their support, and tell them that hopefully in January I'll be back and at least subbing before I join full-time again in September. So that's a long way away. I'm only 5 weeks into my 5-month recovery, but I will get there. So just before we talk about the 2 Canucks news stories of the day, I want to recognize our first donation, getting the donation train out of the station. I love it. Let's give a big thank you to Drum Inc. And Drum says, how diabolical. That's the first time I think I've seen that word in one of my live streams. How diabolical would it be if the Canucks traded Demko? It would be very diabolical. It would not help them make the playoffs, that's for sure. But yes, we do have a new backup goaltender, which I'll get to in a couple minutes. But more importantly, Drumming, thank you for the donation. Let's give Drumming some love, some well-deserved love in the comments for sure. Before I get to the big story, let's get to the minor story. But before we even do that, let's recognize a wonderful gift of a membership coming from the legend herself, Carol Bovenlander. So thank you to legendary Carol Bovenlander gifting a membership. So a $5 donation, and it goes to JGP, gifted a membership by Carol. So I'm not sure what JGP stands for, but we are happy to have JGP back. I know I've seen him or her in this stream before, and now back to a member. So thank you, Drumming, for the donation, and thank you, Carol, for the donation, the gift of a membership. Appreciate you. Can never show the membership gifts on the screen for some reason. I can show donations, super chats, all those things. So before we get to the trade, let's talk about what I thought was going to be the biggest news story of the day. And it's exactly what I speculated. It's exactly not just me. I'm not trying to look so smart, although I'm pretty smart sometimes. But a lot of people were talking about the fact that alongside John Shorthouse, the newly contracted John Shorthouse, Dan Murphy's the host, John Shorthouse is play-by-play, who was going to be, whether you call it the game analyst or the color commentator, basically who is going to replace John Garrett. And prior to today, I was saying odds are it's going to be Dave Tomlinson, who used to work in this market, did the last 2 years on Seattle radio, and a combination of Tomlinson and Ray Ferraro. Well, we were right. It is Dave Tomlinson. He's going to be the primary game analyst. And then Ray Ferraro will probably do a few games. Who knows if that's 10, 15, whatever it is. He'll do some of the regional games. Remember, these aren't the national games where they have the Hockey Night in Canada crew. So I think it turns out to be 65 games or so from a regional basis. So maybe Ferraro will do 10 to 15 of those, and we'll get Dave Tomlinson for the rest. So that was not a surprise, but still big news, because that's how many of us get to consume the games. If we can't go to a game, and especially if we're gone, if it's a road game that most of us aren't going to, we watch the Canucks Sportsnet broadcast. And we know that this year it'll be Dan Murphy hosting, John Shorthouse with either Dave Tomlinson or Ray Ferraro. I like both of them, and I think it's going to be a wonderful combination. And I don't think it'll take that long to get used to, especially Ray Ferraro. He does TSN hockey broadcasts all the time. So maybe it'll take a while to get used to seeing and hearing Dave Tomlinson on the TV as opposed to the radio. By the way, I'm not sure if Adam says my PayPal account won't work with YouTube. I'm not sure if Adam's trying to leave a donation or gift a membership, but if anyone could help Adam out, that would be great. Now, the biggest news of the day, obviously, Tanner Pearson traded to the Montreal Canadiens. Pearson, along with a third-round draft pick in 2025. And I don't like giving up draft picks, but usually if it's not in the first 2 rounds, the odds are higher that the player will not make the NHL as opposed to make the NHL. Usually in any draft class, you want to hit on 2 guys, your first rounder and usually your second rounder. Of course, it might be your third, fourth, fifth rounder, whatever. But the statistics say that you should hit on 2 guys. If you hit on 2 guys, that's a good draft. And then intuitively, it should be your first and second round pick. So all to say, the price of $1.45 million in cap space is a third round draft pick, because on the way back, we get veteran goaltender Casey DeSmith. Casey DeSmith was undrafted, did 5 years in the Pittsburgh Penguins organization. The highest he's had is 38 games played. So basically he played half the season last year. Stats weren't great. 905, I think 905 save percentage, 317, but those were the worst, his worst stats of his career. And it also came with him playing the most games in his career. And we can talk about that in a second. So the trade is Pearson and a 2025 third to Montreal for Casey DeSmith. One other thing about Casey DeSmith, he's been 5 years with Pittsburgh. So you're saying, well, Clay, how did he get to Montreal? He was part of that big 3-way deal between San Jose, Pittsburgh, and Montreal that, of course, included Erik Karlsson, included Jeff Petrie, and included Lester likes like Casey DeSmith. So DeSmith comes over to Vancouver. Pearson goes to Montreal. And we know a bit about Tanner Pearson, his struggles. He only played in a handful of games last year. Did not look great. Looked slow. Took a lot of minor penalties. Then he suffered that hand injury. Then we know that he missed the rest of the season. He spent it on LTIR. Then there were debates on whether or not the Canucks training staff treated him well. We even had Quinn Hughes speaking up for him. Then he got better, played in Troy Stetcher's training camp in Richmond, went to the informal skates at UBC, was ready to go for training camp. So he looks like he was going to be a 100% full participant in training camp. Then this morning he got activated off of the injured reserve list. So you either say, okay, that means he's getting ready to be a full participant at training camp, or something's up. Because remember yesterday, Rick Dollywall said that there was a big trade brewing and in the works. Now, I don't know if this is the one, but here's why this is a good deal for the Vancouver Canucks. There are three main reasons why this is a good deal for the Canucks. And it's basically what I outlined when I did my quick reaction vlog earlier in the day. Number one, it saves cap space. Tanner Pearson was in the last year of his contract making $3.25 million, 3.25. Casey DeSmith is in the last year of his 2-year contract, and his cap hit is only $1.8 million. So double what Delia was making last year. This is why I think obviously DeSmith's going to be the backup, but I'll get to that in a second. So Pearson makes 3.25 cap hit, at least cap hit. DeSmith makes 1.8 cap hit. The difference is $1.45 million. So almost $1.5 million. So that's why I said the cost of $1.5 million in cap space costs you a 3rd-round draft pick 2 years from now. So number one, it gives the Canucks much needed cap space. Number two, it partially solves the glut at the winger position. And Parker and I talked about it last night at length at Canucks After Dark. I've spoken about it many times on this channel. Presuming everyone's healthy, you had Mikheyev, Kuzmenko, wingers only, Besser, Garland, Beauvillier, Pearson, Joshua, Hoglander, Podkolzin, DiGiuseppe, Studnicka. Already that's 11. That's not even including a guy like Aidan McDonough or Arshdeep Bain. So you had 11 bona fide wingers that were battling for only 8 winger spots. So by trading Tanner Pearson, yes, you don't get rid of one of the big three of Besser, Garland, or Beauvillier. When I say big three, making $5 million or more, basically, or actually Beauvillier makes 4, and Garland makes 4.9, so 5, and then Besser makes 6.7 or whatever he makes. But it's not one of the big three that go. It ends up being Tanner Pearson. So by trading him, not only, number one, you save cap space, but number two, now there's one less roster spot filled by him. So that means more opportunity, potential opportunity for a young guy like Niels Hoglander, like Vasily Podkolzin. So that is the second reason why this is a decent trade with Tanner Pearson, for a trade for Casey DeSmith, trading Tanner Pearson. The third reason is nothing to do with Pearson. It's who we're getting. Casey DeSmith, as Ricky pointed out, he was basically a starter for a lot of the year in Pittsburgh last year and getting used to starters' minutes. We saw what happened to Spencer Martin last year, but his numbers were a lot better than Spencer Martin's. And when he comes over now, he is our bona fide backup. Sure, Seelovs or Martin might have an amazing training camp, but the fact that DeSmith makes $1.8 million against the cap, whereas Martin and Seelovs make $900,000 each. Actually, not even. Seelovs makes $800,000 and Martin makes $800,000. So you are not going to put, I don't think you're going to put Casey DeSmith in Abbotsford just to save $1 million of cap space. It's quite the opposite. Because he's a bona fide, proven, legit backup goaltender. Yes, he costs $1 million more against the cap, but than Seelovs or Martin. But you are getting that peace of mind. You're getting that stability. Now you have an actual solid 1-2 punch in Demko and DeSmith, the 2 Ds, double D. Whereas if Demko gets hurt, God forbid, or if he needs a rest on a back-to-back, I think you're more confident putting Casey DeSmith in than you are Artur Seelovs or Spencer Martin, as much as likable as they are. Chris Nelson is asking, don't we save more than 1.4 because we can send Martin down? Yeah, technically the math is we're actually saving 2.2 because we save 1.4 in cap space and then Martin goes down. But yes, and I'll get to that in a second. But in a true player for player cap saving, it is $1.45 million. But then the residual effect or the snowball effect of now sending a backup goalie down, it frees up another $800,000 in cap space. So those are the three reasons why I think this is a good trade for the Vancouver Canucks. I know the first reaction from some people were either they didn't like Casey DeSmith and or they didn't like giving up the third round draft pick, but it is a third round draft pick. And for those three reasons I mentioned, more cap space, solves a bit of the logjam at the winger position, and now we get a bona fide backup goaltender. So before I go to you guys, I want to show you what it means from a cap perspective. So I'm going to show you this from Cap Friendly right now. So right now, Cap Friendly is showing the Canucks at 85.4, which is more than the 83.5, $2 million more than the 83.5 that the salary cap was supposed to be at. So what they're showing is we're basically over the cap by $2 million. But presuming Tucker Pullman, and this is a pretty safe presumption considering I don't think he's going to camp, is going to be on the season, on the LTIR for the entire season, his 2.5 doesn't count. So if we are 2 million over, but Pullman's 2.5 doesn't count, then technically we have $500,000 of cap space. And that's why, yeah, great point, Chris. That's where it was key that one of Seelovs or Martin was going to be sent down, i.e. not count against our cap, and that you save another extra $800,000. So once again, that even if Mikheyev starts healthy and not on the long-term injured reserve, we still have $500,000 in cap space. And think of the $500,000 cap space. Think of it like this. It's not even enough to get one minor league player, but it is enough to say that you are cap compliant and you can start the season with a full roster for sure. Now, some of these pieces can change, but right now they are listing the forwards, the 14 forwards as Miller, Pearson, Besser, Kuzmenko, Garland, Beauvillier, Bluger, Suter, Hoglander, Joshua DiGiuseppe, Sheldon Dries, Jack Stanika, and Ilya Mikheyev. Because injured reserve, that counts against the cap. There's no relief. So that's why so this number includes Mikheyev's 4.75. Then on defense, they have Hughes, Myers, Hronik, Susi, Cole, Rathbone, and Irwin. And then you have goalies as Demko and DeSmith. So 14 forwards, including Mikheyev, plus 7 defensemen makes 21, plus 2 goalies makes 23. Now, you could say, well, Clay, I don't think Sheldon Dries or Stanika are going to make the team. So 762.5, 762.5. Well, you want to add Hoglander and Podkolzin instead? Well, Podkolzin makes 925, so that's a $200,000 difference. And Hoglander makes, where did he go? Hoglander makes, is he already up there? How did I mess that up? Oh, Hoglander's already up there. So let's say, for instance, you don't think it's going to be Dries and Stadnika who make 7, so basically make 1.5 between them. And instead you think it's going to be Podkolzin and pick another guy, Aturatu, for instance. So you add Podkolzin, 925, Aturatu, 8. So you're bringing 1.7 up. So you're bringing up $200,000 more, but you have $500,000 in cap space. Same thing. You might not think it's going to be Rathbone and Irwin at a combined 1.6. You might think instead that it's going to be Hirose and Wolanin, 775. So again, that's 1.6 as well. So with all the guys that are on the bubble, they all make, in essence, $900,000 or less. So if you sub 1 or 2 of them out for 1 or 2 other guys, you're not breaking the bank. You're not going over the $500,000. So that's where we are. That's why, and I see a lot of some of you saying you don't like the fact they traded a pick. I get that. I know that was Benning's problem, and it's also been what Rutherford and Alvin have been doing. But we have to understand that is indeed the cost of gaining that cap space. And I truly think that they're not worried about a third rounder. Sounds a second rounder sounds a lot worse than a third rounder. So I'm not excusing it, but I am saying that they felt that this was a way to get under the cap and at least starting the season as being cap compliant. So wanted to share that with you. I'll do my mid-show sponsor read now, and then we'll have some time for your reactions to the trade. So hold on to those reactions. I know you guys have already been talking to each other in the chat, which is awesome, but I will get to some of your questions and comments in a minute. But first, let me take care of some mid-show business. Shout out to my primary sponsor, Van City Experts Real Estate. Contact Jason Lim and his team for all of your real estate needs. Shout out to my secondary sponsor, Perform and Transform Personal Training Weight Loss. Check out their services at ptform.com. Thank you to Gassy Jai Art, maker of this fine artwork. Thank you to Monkey Nine Brewing, my eternal sponsor. And thank you to Vessi Footwear. Use the URL, tinyurl.com/VessiClay and receive a free pair of socks off of your next Vessi purchase. A couple other things. Don't forget my 12-hour live stream happening on October 14th. Don't forget that if you want to buy Canucks tickets, you can send me an email at canuckclay@gmail.com. 3 different sets of lists, 3 different sets of tickets that I can tell you about. Don't forget my next show this week is Thursday. So I'm not doing the show tomorrow night, but I will do a show on Thursday night after training camp, day 1 of training camp. And finally, I will go back to 5 nights a week starting next week. Sunday night, September the 24th will be my first of 5 in a row next week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then we'll be celebrating by doing Wheel of Names on Sunday night. And if you've been around, you know what Wheel of Names means. It means we're doing some sort of giveaway. So there we go. All of my mid-show announcements. As always, I invite you to subscribe, to like the video. There are 100 of you in here, which is awesome. So let's bump those likes up. Thank you for being here. There must be a lot of interest in the Canucks right now. So subscribe, like the video, leave a donation like Drum Inc. did. You can gift a membership like Carol did. You can also buy your own membership. You can upgrade your membership. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure you rate and review. Okay, now I will get to your comments, your questions, and I'll try and keep up. There's 100 of you in here, which is great. So I'll do my best to keep up for sure. Canucks have 7 back-to-backs this season. Schedule seems more balanced. Based on schedule, looks like Demko plays first 6, and then DeSmith gets one of the back-to-backs against St. Louis. Yes, I would play Demko in the first 6. I would play DeSmith against St. Louis on the Friday night, and then I'd play Demko Hockey Night in Canada Saturday night home game against the Rangers. Do you think with the $500K and sending a 7th D-man down is enough to sign Bear when he heals up? Chris, that's a good point. I've heard that they've already made an offer to Bear, and that they're just waiting for him to accept it. Maybe it's a low offer. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they've already offered Bear a contract or they're very close to it. And Chris, I think a lot can change between now and whenever Bear decides to accept it. So yeah, I think, between 500 grand and sending down another 800 grand player, can you get Bear for 1.3? Maybe. I know Zal's not happy with giving up the 3rd round draft pick, more draft capital this offseason alone than the Canucks have had for all 10 seasons, all because they have cap space. Yeah, Montreal is probably going to be among the worst teams in the league this year, but I think 3 or 4 years from now, they're going to be very, very good. Do you think Tyler Myers will get dealt with another team before the season starts? No, not before the season starts, Harry, because there's only 4 teams that have $6 million of cap space to take Tyler Myers' cap hit. I think he'll get traded. He won't even get traded next offseason because he's a UFA. We won't have him. So he's got to be traded during the season closer to the trade deadline. And yeah, you might have to attach a pick to get rid of him. But when it comes closer to the playoff race, if the Canucks are out of it and another team sees Tyler Myers as valuable, then maybe you don't have to attach a pick. If you thought yesterday a trade would happen today, would you have thought it was Pearson over Beauvillier, Myers, or Garland? No. This Tanner Pearson kind of came out of the blue for me, for sure. Got off school and randomly saw the trade on Instagram, and it caught me by surprise in a good way, though. Yeah, I was surprised too. I was very surprised. Edmund would like to see Ethan Bear back. Tanner wasn't a good fit ever since Bo was traded. Definitely an okay trade. Just hope Canucks can get more draft picks for every pick they made. Oh yeah, sorry, that's one thing. Yes, I agree. We got to get some of those draft picks back somehow. And let's not understate that Pearson was very liked in the room, very well respected. And if you're in Pearson's shoes, you might feel like you're done wrong by the team. If you're upset about the team doctors, if you end up filing a grievance, I'm not sure if he did, and now he gets traded away. So I'm pretty sure the way things came out, whether it was right or not, I'm sure Rutherford and Alvin probably didn't like the way that played out in the media, quite frankly. The weekend's the bottom six, but what are your thoughts on a Garland, Miller, Besser line? Garland is a sneak, Miller's the greedy play driver, and Besser, if he remembers, has a shot. Yeah, I could see them going like that, especially if Mikheyev doesn't. If Mikheyev is hurt to start the season, they'll go Petey, Kuzmenko, Bovele, and then Garland, Miller, Besser for sure. I think that could happen. Do I think the Canucks are going to make trades during training camp? I think they'll probably be open to it. You're allowed to trade now, obviously. You can trade during training camp. If I had to bet, probably not, but I think they'd be open to it. DSS, I think all 4 goalies are going to get some preseason time. I really do. Whether 2 guys get 1 game and 2 guys get 2, or 3 of them split 4 or 5 games, I don't know. But I think all 4 will play. It looks like Bear will sign here soon, and I'm here for it. He's a good partner for Hughes. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's the long-term fit for Hughes, but I hear with the Pettersson contract, do you think the extension will happen anytime soon? Nope. I think they will negotiate a couple times during the season, but I'm not expecting it at all. I think we just got to wait to be surprised. What do you think of the Lionel Richie concert? I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but I enjoy Lionel Richie, and I think he's very talented. And the new scoreboard is massive. I finally got to see it. It is ginormous. Lionel Richie didn't use it during his concert, but it just looms there. It's always there. It's ever present. It's pretty darn impressive. Vancouver made the right move not to qualify Bear because no other team has offered Bear anything. Yeah, there was no point in doing that. That would be kind of a waste of $1 million or so, for sure. PD was at the Laver Cup earlier. Nice. Watching some tennis. Myers will probably get traded with retained. Yeah, that's true. I like Pearson. Never had a problem with the guy. Solid middle 6 guy, locker room guy. Sure, he's slow. Even Clay is probably faster than him. But solid dude and player. Yeah. No, he's a good player, good in the room, and he's got Stanley Cup pedigree for sure. Hey, Jay, Brock, Bavili, Myers, and Garland. 1 or 2 will be gone before the season is over. Okay, mark his words right now. Wouldn't Mikheyev have qualified for LTIR last season after his surgery? Yeah, he was on LTIR at the end of last season, but they moved him to regular IR now with the anticipation that he's coming back. Yeah, Zao, I think you're just seeing that more and more veterans are getting moved out, and they're making it Hughes' room now and PD's room. Well, Hughes is the captain for sure. Pearson is best remembered as Benning's best trade. Yep. And worst re-signing. Yeah, maybe not the worst, but it wasn't the best. But it was a good trade for sure. Should have traded Pearson to Isles for Barzal. He would have reunited with Horvat, and Barzal would have returned home. Yeah, he's from Coquitlam, but I don't think that's a fair trade. DeSmith looks like a carbon copy of Martin after watching his Pens highlights. He's a 6 foot even and his reaction goalie, not positional. Okay, I'll take your word for it, Elder. I'll have to look up some highlights for sure. I think players like Podkolzin can fill in the spot for Pearson. That's the hope. Dhaliwal also tweeted he called Pearson, but he didn't want to talk. Yes, it was quite fascinating, the contrast. DeSmith is thrilled to be coming here, shares the same agent as Demko, whereas Pearson was too distraught to talk. I don't know what DeSmith's number is going to be. I don't even know what he wore in Pittsburgh. Did he wear 1? More playing time for Höglander, Podkolzin, added a solid backup goalie, created cap space. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Did you get your bald inspiration out, Patrick, from The Rock? And do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Yes, he said even growing up in Sweden, he could smell what The Rock was cooking. The team did Pearson dirty with that surgery. I enjoyed the 2020 bubble playoff run, coinciding when I returned to Vancouver 4 years ago. And do you mention the bubble playoff run, Fillmore, because was Pearson really good there? Can't remember what the connection is there. At first, I didn't like the trade because I felt really bad for Pearson. I really didn't think Vancouver did a great job with his injury, so I felt like he was not treated well. That's fair, Carol, and you're certainly not the only one who feels that. What prospects that might make the team next year? I don't know, actually, if any of them. Do you call Hiroshi a prospect? I think he's got a chance. May McDonough's got a chance as a call-up. Lotto line reunited. Will Tocchet try it? He might. If he needs quick offense, he might. Who do you think hits waivers? Well, it depends. Whoever doesn't make the team. So maybe Di Giuseppe, maybe Stadnicka. So there's going to be a bunch of guys that they're going to try and get through. I think that's what your question is, right? Who are the Canucks going to put on waivers? Tanner Pearson trade was so big that the mail truck stopped at an apartment and had to tell everyone. He also said that everyone is out on the street talking about it. Interesting. Tanner was a part of the playoff run in the bubble. Thank you. What prospects do you see the Vancouver Canucks trying to make the team next year? If you mean next year, not this season, then I think it's time for it'll be time for a guy like Aidan McDonough, Sasson, Arshdeep Bains. Yeah, those guys next year for sure. For sure. Glad to see training camp at Victoria. Very excited. Yep. When do you think they'll be doing the ice for the rink at Rogers Arena? Well, they better do it soon because they got a preseason game on September 30th. How excited are you for the next 24-hour live stream? Hope you survive. Well, Peter, I was excited, but then I ruptured my Achilles tendon, and 24 hours with no rest while recovering from injury doesn't make sense. That's why I have shortened it to a 12-hour live stream. If Myers gets traded, I'd avoid trading with Boston. They have nothing we need and too expensive contract. Yeah, I don't know if Boston would be interested. I don't know. Dollywall supposedly called Pearson and he wasn't in the mood. Yeah, Justin, thank you. I mentioned, I think you probably typed this before I talked about it. Yeah, too upset. Do I think he feels scorned by the organization? Tough to say. He did go public, but maybe he just kind of is standing up for himself. It's tough to say if he feels scorned. I don't know. I think he may, but he also might recognize that this is part of the hockey business. Pearson is too old and slow. There are guys that are faster and cheaper. That's the pragmatic way of looking at it for sure. Yeah, Pearson's hand injury happened in Montreal, so out of all places, kind of ironic. Pearson and Toffoli passed their prime. When you win a cup ages ago, doesn't mean that you're that caliber player because they were third line guys. Yeah, and they both did stints in Montreal now or are going to. DeSmith wore number 1. Thank you. Shannon going to training camp on Thursday. Nice. Yeah, but Pearson's probably shocked. Remember, he's going from a team that at least we're hopefully trying to make the playoffs to a team that likely is going to be on the outside looking in for sure. Pearson, no doubt a good person, but as time has come, the team can only have slugs who score, or it can only have so many slugs, I guess is what you're saying. Sharks have $5 million cap space, so they can't take Myers unless it's a trade and buyout or retained or they make another move. Pearson will sometime take shots at Vancouver management. Could be his media availability soon or sometime later. Yeah, we'll see. That'll be very interesting to watch. If you skate like mud, you're useless for us to be competitive to make the playoffs. Are you shocked that Rutherford is meeting with media with Alvin and Tocchet? No, I think they know there's a lot of buzz in the city and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm not shocked at all. It truly feels like the kickoff of the hockey season. Moving Myers could very well mean the Canucks have to agree to retain as much as half his cap hit. Yikes. But that's true. In short order, tell me what DeSmith said about coming here. I actually didn't read anything. I just know that Dollywall said he's thrilled to come here. And he wasn't thrilled to go to Montreal because they were about to have a baby back in August. But and I think Vancouver's a better team than Montreal. So it sounds like he's excited to come for sure. I'd rather see Pods and Hoglander in the AHL than having them playing fourth line minutes. Yeah, that's the debate. Do they develop more up here with better coaching or by playing more down on the farm? DeSmith gives me Peter Scooter vibes. Oh, there's a pull from the past. Patrick Kane, that's right. Yeah, he wasn't the best in New York, and maybe it is a PTO because all the money's dried up, I think. Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if Jet Wu never makes this team. I want him to, but is he good enough to be an everyday third pairing defenseman? I'm not so sure. Favorite memory of Pearson as a Canuck? All I seem to remember is the injury drama, the bromance with Bo, and being the empty net specialist. Yeah, Pearson, I think some of my memories with Pearson is just the fact that he skates just so upright, up and down. And I've said many times when I play roller hockey, I kind of look like Pearson because I got the broad with the pads. I got the broad shoulders and I'm not the fastest guy. I actually don't have a true favorite memory of him aside from, I agree that him and Bo were quite close. And there was that one year where it was like, you need an empty net goal. Make sure Tanner Pearson is on the ice. Yes, Myers is indeed gone after the season. Hoping we get Brett Pesce. Yeah, he's good. Youssef going on Friday. Nice. Casey DeSmith seems like a good guy in the room. Well, yeah, we'll see. Do you think the NHL going to Australia for the Global Series is good for the game, or does Australia sweep it under the rug? I think any chance you have an opportunity to grow the game, it's good. Although, of course, there's the trade-off of tiring out the two teams that go over there. I think overall it's fine, but I don't know what kind of coverage they are going to get. I really like McDonough, and I think he should be on the roster. Troy Gamble. Yes. By the way, I'm Just Here for the Riot is premiering in Vancouver at the Vancouver International Film Festival, October 2nd and October 5th. So I'll talk about it more next week. But yes, the documentary, if you're talking about Just Here for the Riots, yes, I'm Just Here for the Riot. It is premiering in Vancouver on October 2nd. I'll probably end up going because then I get to see myself on a big screen. Jet Wu is like the Jeremy Lin of hockey. Woo sanity. For Pearson, I remember him getting the greasy goal with Horvat against. That's right, when all 10 skaters are piled in the crease. Right, good memory. Pearson has lots of hockey IQ, but doesn't possess youth and speed. Yeah, that's true. He's a smart player. He's won a Stanley Cup, and I think he's a low maintenance guy. So I do think he would have been a valuable part of this team. I think Tocchet would have liked him for sure. What does Bo think about this? Even he's probably thinking this management is ruthless. Yes, but this management, they're certainly moving, and they have no loyalty to guys that were here before, for sure. Pearson gets a hat trick first game back. I hope not. Pearson should have never been resigned. Me no like when Canucks trade picks like a top team. That's true. Usually it's the teams that are contending that can afford to trade picks because that means they are very close to winning. Could I see Vancouver playing a winter classic outside of the city? No, I don't. I think there's too many other markets with natural stadiums. Pearson was unremarkable with the Canucks. That's fair. Tire out LA. We need all the help we can get. What does that mean? Tire out LA. What did I miss? Oh, LA going to Australia. I get my training camp ticket for us being a Royal season ticket. Nice. Who cares what both things? He took the money to go elsewhere. That is true. Okay, guys, let's do 5 more minutes. I know it's not close to midnight yet, but I do have to prepare for that prayer hour. So let's go 5 more minutes. And I probably won't do any Ask Me Anything tonight. We'll just stick to hockey tonight, I think. Pearson's video tribute on the new Jumbotron will be epic. Yeah, but it will be the first one. I guess he's been the major player that's been traded. Yeah, I'm not sure they'll give him video tribute, but I'm sure they'll put a nice graphic up. Thank you, Tanner. Pearson's definitely upset. You're leaving friends and uprooting to another city. Hughes won't be happy either. Yeah. It's tough to say what kind of effect a trade like this has in the room for sure. Oh, Vancouver playing in a winter classic in another city against another team. Yeah, they usually like to go with traditional rivals, though. So I don't know, unless they play against Buffalo as their expansion cousins in Buffalo, maybe. But I'm not sure Vancouver is the biggest draw when it comes to a winter game. At least Pearson wasn't signed to ridiculous per-season cap hit of Tavares, $10 million. Does this put a pin in a potential Myers offload since we're now under the cap, or could it still happen? Debut Hunter, great question. I think there's less pressure, but you don't want to just be up against the cap either. You want to have some space because imagine if the Canucks are contending and they want to be buyers at the trade deadline. You need a bit of cap space. DSS, I think I answered this already. What kind of prospects do I think will have a better chance to make the team this year? If you're talking about this season, I think Hirose, if you consider him a prospect, is going to be in a battle for a spot. And I think if you consider Hogland a prospect, Podkolzin, which I don't think, so not them, then maybe it's McDonough as well. He had a really good young stars. Pearson had 45 points in 69 games. The idea really, really good first season. What's going to be more emotional? Horvat's tribute video or Kyle Burrow's tribute? Harry, I think you know the answer. It'll be interesting to see the crowd reaction to Horvat, though, for sure. What do I think about the new PWHL? I think it's great. I think it's going to be awesome for women's hockey. It's kind of intriguing the way they did the draft first, like kind of the free agent period for all the like really good players, and then they did the draft. No, it's exciting. I think it's great. Vancouver versus Seattle would make a lot of money for the league for Winter Classic. That's true. Could Beauvillier be traded at the deadline? Sure. Anyone could be traded at the deadline. Well, unless you have a no move clause, and he could be, if the Canucks are out of it, it'd be smart to move him considering he's a UFA. CBC and NHL will only want a Leafs versus McDreamy Winter Classic. Vancouver, Seattle outdoor game. Canucks need to trade Bo at the trade deadline and give Höglander top 6 minutes. That's fair. Would the tribute for Pearson be a 2-minute montage of him and Eriksson being on the ice for empty net goals? That would be amazing. They have a lot of footage for sure. Would I have a problem if DeSmith was number one? I think a problem, too strong a word, but I simply don't think it's going to happen. Given Luongo recognized last year, I know it's not a retired jersey, but yeah, I do not think that DeSmith will wear number one. Would I have a problem? Even though Luongo is my favorite, I think problem is too strong of a word, but I simply don't think it's going to get to that point. What do you think the lines will be this upcoming season? If Mikheyev's healthy, I go Petey, Mikheyev, Kuzmenko. I go Miller, Besser, one of Garland or Beauvillier. I do the other one of Garland, Beauvillier in the third line with Suter and Höglander. And then a fourth line of Joshua, Bluger, and Podkolzin. That's what I would do. Then Di Giuseppe's my extra. Wolanin versus Hirose, battle for the left side D spot, third pairing. Yes, that is going to be a great battle to watch for sure. Hirose over Myers, McDonough over Höglander. Okay. Outdoor game with Edmonton and Vancouver. That would be fun. I do not see the Canucks getting a Winter Classic anytime. I don't. The Canucks that have trade protection, I'm just looking it up right now. I know JT Miller has a no move. And Andrei Kuzmenko had a modified no trade. Tyler Myers has a modified no trade. Carson Soucy has a no trade. So those are the ones right now. Hey, Tyler, welcome. Could the Canucks realistically trade Petey if they're out by the trade deadline? Yeah, but you don't have to yet because we still have one more year of control over him. Yes, yet another ex-Penguin in Casey DeSmith. That's true. Yeah, Ferraro and Tomlinson will be good. Hey, Chad, no problem. I think DeSmith's going to wear like a 30-something, something in the 30s. 32, because he's 32. I don't know, 31? Hirose did look good in the prospect games for sure. Would it be interesting to see a Heritage Classic between the Kraken and the Canucks? Yeah, there's just no history there, though. That's the thing. I'd rather see Hirose or Wolanin play the right than Myers again. Yeah, but Hirose and Wolanin don't play the right side. That's the challenge. Anaheim, Buffalo, Chicago, and Nashville have cap space. Thank you. Thanks for looking that up, Elder. I appreciate that. Last two comments. PD, McCabe, and Kuzmenko. Who doesn't like two Russians on the same line? Yes, the Canucks like the Russians. Demko 35. DeSmith should wear 36. Okay, that's fair. And the very last comment. DeSmith's first contract was done by Jim Rutherford. Again, that Penguins connection. Indeed. Okay, friends. That was good. That was a great show. We had over 100 people. Went for 45 minutes. I do need to get going and start preparing for my prayer hour at the church. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Moderators, thank you for being ready to do what you need to do. This is nice. We had over 100 people in here, yet the chat, at least from my eyes, didn't get too crazy. Thank you to legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Carol Bovenlander, legendary Andrew Chang, also Hall of Fame and franchise members. And thanks to all of you today for watching, for subscribing, for liking the video, for simply hanging out tonight. Don't forget, Thursday night is my next stream at 10:30. Don't forget, if you want Canucks tickets, email me at canuckclay@gmail.com. Thank you to Drum Inc. for the donation tonight, ensuring that the donation train indeed got moving for a little bit. Chad, thank you for the 3 minutes of your life that you'll never get back again. Carol, thank you for gifting the membership that went to JGP. And thanks to all of you for being here tonight on a big news night for the Vancouver Canucks. I always appreciate you guys, and I never take you for granted. So on the way out, subscribe, like the video, leave a late donation, gift a late membership, become a member, upgrade your membership. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure you rate and review. And thank you to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate and Perform and Transform Personal Training and Weight Loss. Okay, it's time for me to go. No video to show you tonight. Actually, as I can stall for like 2 seconds, and I can pull one up because I do like showing you. No, actually tonight, we'll keep that a special thing. So tonight, I will not show you an old music video. You can just simply go and find one on my channel. But I will leave you with a bad dad joke as always. So I hope to see you Thursday night, 10:30 for my next live stream. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. And yes, J-Kid, I will pray for your sister's coworker who is having a stroke. Absolutely. Thanks for reaching out. So earlier today, I didn't know, but I accidentally turned on my cell phone, and I accidentally took a 10-minute video of my shoes. Well, my right shoe technically, because left foot I don't have a shoe on. So yeah, I had my cell phone going, my iPhone going, 10 minutes filming my right shoe. It was kind of embarrassing, although it was some pretty good footage. God bless, and go Canucks go. Booyah.